Welcome to the 90 Degree Show, the sports center for college marching bands where we recap the ultimate battles from this weekend. And now, here's our host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard. Happy to be of service for you. We welcome all those if you're listening live or you're listening in podcast form or you're watching live or watching in I got to add that watching because listening too. So if you're watching or listening on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, whatever it is, if you like the show, then you can go to our website, themarchingpodcast.com. Click on the donate button to help support the show and help build our scholarship fund. Also, there's a tag on there called Marching Podcast Nail Ya. Go ahead and click on that and you can get some stuff Christmas time or New Year's time or around this time when you're getting somebody some gifts, or if you're thinking about someone you didn't get a gift for, go ahead and go to the Marching Podcast Nail Ya, and your money is going to a good cause. Going to the cause for our National Signing Day for marching bands. For those young students entering the craft, just like the three of us have done. All right? So shout out to you all, and I'm going to welcome our panel. We got a decent bit about to talk today. So I am interested about how y'all I'm interested in how y'all feel about stuff. So without further ado, let me get into it. The pride of Morgan State, the magnificent marching machine. Watch out now. Macy's Day Parade marchers, Bridgette Bell. What's going on this podcast, Bridgette? Bridgette, you didn't hear me. I see that she live.
I don't think she heard us.
Oh, yeah, no, Bridgette, no.
she missed an awesome introduction.
Come on here, Macy. We're going to ride it. You heard? I heard you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you must be going through a spot.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I think you're good now. You're good.
I think you
Can you hear me? I heard that awesome introduction. Please tell me you can hear me.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Round of applause.
You got me in? Oh, my goodness. Shout out to Sprint.com.
There you go. Shout out to Sprint. What's going on, Bridgette? How was your week? Well, how was your last 2 weeks?
Man, my weeks have been awesome. I can't wait to tell y'all about it. First of all, yes, thank you. Shout out to that Morgan State Macy's Day Parade. We riding that wave, ain't we? I don't think I'm the pride of Morgan State, but I appreciate the shout out. It has been a fantastic last 2 weeks, last week, whatever. So I look forward when we start doing our shout outs and stuff. I had to tell y'all all about it. But yeah, how y'all doing? Glad to be on the podcast. Had a flat tire, so I'm in the car trying to get home. So excuse my in and out, folks.
That's all good. Well, we glad to have you on. We had the interesting week. We had a couple things we could talk about. So we'll let the listeners know how as the show goes on. We got a couple more episodes, and I'm sure we'll do something for the Honda. But today we're gonna get into Bridgette attended the Midwest Band Clinic, Midwest Band Directors Music Clinic. I don't know the official name, but Bridgette attended that, so we want to hear from that because it's always a good time where Bridgette's able to meet up with folks and touch base with folks. And we also had the Great Celebration Bowl. Let me go and give a round of applause here for the Celebration Bowl. Another successful event. I want to talk to you guys about the event itself, how it's broadcast, how it's presented, and then, of course, we'll talk about the Blue and Gold Marching Machine and the Sounds of Dynamite, who went against each other. And I want to hear what y'all think, because I'm steaming.
Okay.
All right. And without further ado, the editor and founder, owner of block us up. Just block us up. You see, it's got
That's
a little
right.
something. You see, they don't know yet. They don't know the little innuendos and the blockusup.com. Ernest Stackhouse, what's going on in this podcast, Ernest?
What's going on, my brother? What's up, Bridgette? I'm good, man. Glad to be on with y'all today. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. And I thought about you this week, Ernest. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. The NFL Network was talking. Well, maybe, you know what? I think they brought it up in the broadcast of the Celebration Bowl. There's a couple things about South Carolina State I heard this week. But you guys have currently the most players in the NFL.
That's right.
That's right.
And we're the MEAC co-champions. I mean, we should have been at the Celebration Bowl, but that's another story.
Wow.
We're not going to even get at that.
Round of applause. Because that's actually what I wanted to get into today before we did our shout-outs right quick. We're going to be talking about, and my bad for not saying this correctly, we're going to be actually talking about the second place game. Okay? That was broadcast on ABC with A&T and Alcorn because we know that Florida A&M is our national champion. So let's give Florida A&M a round of applause.
Right.
I so disagree.
They have declared themselves.
Disagree.
They are the national champion. Yep. All that stuff we saw that second.
It.
They claimed it.
You get disqualified for a race, but then you claim it yourself. Like, that doesn't even make sense. If I'm running track and field and I step over the line and they disqualify me, but I get there first, guess what? You still step over the line, so you're disqualified. So, fam, you are not the national champion because you're disqualified. Now, I can talk junk because Morgan sucked and we're under sanctions too, so I can definitely talk junk about that one. But no, you're not the champion. You stepped over the line. You have violations. You can't be champion.
That's right. That's true. All facts.
Hey, man. Hey, all they said was that it was for second place, and they had a ceremony too. They had a ceremony. So shout out to the Rattlers.
That is the most classic arrogance of FAMU. The classic arrogance. How dare you? Between FAMU, they should let FAMU and A&T play each other because those are the most two arrogant schools I've ever come across.
You're right.
The battle of the arrogant, the Big Head Bowl. We can call it the Big Head Bowl.
The big Head Bowl. There you go. The BB.
I be tripping, y'all. Y'all know I be playing. People be taking me so serious. I had this girl go off of me because people be taking me so serious. Y'all know I be playing for real. We just glad that the MEAC representative won.
Hey, but that's the truth though. You can't go to a HBCU and talk and know how to talk a little bit of trash. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Know how.
That's a part of it. That's part of the experience.
You know what I'm saying? But then when someone else talk about HBCUs, then that's when we attack. Then that's when we go low. Like Michelle said, when you talk about HBCUs, you go low. Round of applause for going low.
It's like family. You can't talk about my family, but I can talk about them.
That's right.
That's right. Exactly.
That's right.
You start talking about them, you're like, what? You ready to fight? Hey.
Right. You better not say nothing about my crackhead cousin.
I told you she stole $20 out of my purse, but I said it. You can't say it.
Right. That's right. So that's what's up, y'all. So I asked y'all real quick, Bridgette, you have any shout outs before we do our first commercial break and start talking about the game? We got a little freeze there for a second.
Am I chopping up?
Okay, there we go.
You back.
You back. Yeah, so you have any shout outs before we get anything going today?
Yeah. Can you all hear me? Am I frozen or am I good?
You good.
You're straight right now. You straight.
Okay, yeah. So I do have some shout outs. I have some really good shout outs and then I have some petty shout outs too. So shout out to all the directors who I had the opportunity to fellowship and listen to, learn from. Hopefully we learn from each other at the Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic in Chicago this week. So shout out to the many directors. Special shout out to the Louisiana crew that I hung out with. So shout out to them for sure. And here was my petty one. Shout out to the sister. I'm just going to call it a sister who thinks, well, first of all, she don't like my comments and she don't like my commentary. She calls me ignorant and blah, 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 blah. But she also thinks that this show is geared toward the band heads. And I was like, huh? It doesn't matter who views this show, whether you're a band head, band fan, band director, collegiate, or musician. We're hoping everyone is welcome to be a part of. Everyone is welcome to be a part of this show. But it was really crazy this week. She was like, you gotta follow the band heads, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. Because hopefully, as a teacher, I'm educating everybody. And the show is we have some fun and we entertain, but also our perspectives are diverse. But yeah, it got to the point where I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and kind of delete you. But she was like, you think you know everything, and it was like out of nowhere. Like we was talking about how females dress. That's a whole nother conversation. Talking about female attire. You know, everybody's on this whole don't body shame and da da da. And so that's a whole nother discussion that we should probably kind of venture into one day because something isn't appropriate doesn't mean you're body shaming them, but whatever. So then one other person jumped on her bandwagon. I was like, oh, some people just want to get their, feelings off their chest. So I let them. But I'm gonna give you a shout out, honey, because you're clearly uninformed, but you're probably still watching the show. So hey, boo, hey.
So let me ask a question because
petty shout out.
Yeah, I'm missing something. So she said that the show was geared for band heads. I don't understand.
She said that so pretty much so now that they're band heads and they're musicians. Band heads are people who maybe have played in a band, but they're not true musicians. They don't understand the craft. They don't understand the art. They just like kind of fans, and they're kind of ignorant and ruthless is what she's kind of saying. Which is, I know a few people who I can consider a band head, but whatever they are, it doesn't matter. We always say this is our thoughts and our opinions or whatever, and everybody's entitled to them. But just to even go and attack on based upon that, she's a band director in Georgia. Let me go and throw that out. I'll put it in the closer. She's a band director, and I would never, personally attack her program or anything like that. I think that's just so ridiculous. But it's funny to me when people say, "Oh, you have a follow on the band heads." I'm like, you have no idea the number of musicians and directors and people who I'm in contact who are really talented in the field.
Yes.
I'm not a band head by far. I'm a musician. Just for the clarity. Well, if you want it's and if you need the
You know what? I would like to invite her on. We should have her on one episode. Send out an invitation.
Well, let me say this. Because I always hear, because of course, I've been doing this for a little minute, and I always hear people say if you don't really care for what they said, you then go towards this element of music or statistics or technicality, and it's just like, oh, well, where are you from? Or your credentials. So when Rashad was doing the show, he does the prunalysis. All of those things are his opinion. He's an arranger. He does things. So people were upset at that. And then they'll say, well, what is your credentials? Blah, blah, blah. I also want to say, too, that band heads can be musicians. They could be people who ain't musicians. Like, that's a huge word. Because the guy that had, HBCUbands.com and bandhead.com, that's my man, Gerard Howard from Jackson State. And he used that term. So now it's getting stretched out where it's like, oh, well, you a band head. You don't really know about me. I mean, let's get away from that. All right.
Yeah.
But because, everybody's not going to agree. I called and talked to Bridgette about this a couple weeks ago, and I was mad about something somebody said. And she like, yeah, well, that's kind of how it is. We're going to have to kind of get over that, and that's the truth. But if you don't agree, I mean, that's just kind of how it is. What were you about to say, Ernest?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that word in a negative light at all. I wear that. I used to wear that when I was younger. I used to wear that like a badge of honor. Yes, I'm a band head. You know what I mean? And I'm a music major. And I got a master's. And I got this. I got, I mean, I got 18 years as a music educator. And I'm a band head.
That's right. And I ain't got none of that. And I'm still a band head. And I still got my opinions about what I see. And who knows? Maybe she and I might agree on a whole lot of stuff. But
to me, band head means that you just love this culture. You love everything about the culture. That makes you a band head.
Right.
Absolutely.
Our
Yeah, but
band
couldn't-
somehow people have taken bandhead and turned it to something like totally negative. Like I've heard
Yeah.
band directors actually say that. Well, they're just bandheads, they're not really musicians or whatever. And it could be a conglomerate of many things. My biggest thing is this thing called music is so subjective. It's not definitive.
Yeah, it is.
It's so subjective. And so I'm gonna say what I feel and think, and that doesn't mean that you have to agree with me. Like that's my whole thing. That's the one thing about perspectives. All three of us can sit here and have the conversation, and all three of us can have different opinions. But guess what? It's all good. Like all of our opinions are validated. It doesn't even matter. So it is what it is. But I knew I was going to be a little bit petty with that one today. Like because of this podcast. But if you want to be a part, sweetheart, we can add another person if that's what's really bothering you.
Well, I appreciate that too, because that was something I was gonna also say about. I like it when you go up there, because y'all, I don't travel that much, but you're able to out there and rub elbows with all the elite, and at least touch base with folks. So that definitely helps out things. But yeah, I mean, it's just how we feel. You guys were definitely going in on me, and some of the people in the chat room going in on me about Alcorn, which we're gonna talk about today. But yeah,
I gotta stick up for my Alcorn folks for them.
Lord.
I got you today, Alcorn. I got you.
Yes, please. Somebody get off. Just somebody get him. Somebody. All right, y'all. So all right. So real quick, Ernest. Any shout outs for the week, man? What'd you do this week? Anything that happened?
All right. Real quick, I like to shout out my boy Adrian Wright. Band right at Dillon High School. It was his birthday yesterday, and he celebrated it down in Midwest with a few other friends. Man, I was supposed to be there, but things didn't work out this year, so maybe next year.
Right.
But shout out to Adrian, man. Kool-Aid. Shout out to the 49ers. Man, we still behind. We still whipping behind. We still on the quest for 6.
Hold on,
so,
let me get the right button here. Get the boo birds out. The Rams yesterday in a field goal. I was happy that because we've had a bad season, but I was happy that we kept it that close. I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't trust him, man.
That boy is bad. Boy.
No, man. Something is.
No. He had me nervous a couple times yesterday. But,
yeah, it's in them close games. I don't know if maybe he not reading certain things. It's something. It's something where like he seemed like he dumping down in the biggest moments. It's something about him. But they look good though, man. And yeah, it's gonna be something interesting. And there's some games going on today. The good Dallas game. You got shout out
to the Ravens.
Boo.
Shout out to the Ravens. Let's go, Ravens. Let's go.
Go Ravens.
Yeah.
We clinched the division, and we have home field advantage. Let's go, Ravens.
Well, I'm rooting for the Ravens too. You gotta love the Cowboys fans, because when they lose, that be the funniest. Like you go after them when they lose.
Cowgirls.
So they playing for the division today, and shout out to the football news. And real quick before we get into the band stuff, we talk about the football part of the Celebration Bowl. North Carolina A&T beat Alcorn to win the Celebration Bowl trophy and claim the National Black College Championship. So we're going to give them a round of applause.
Yep. With an asterisk.
Right, with an asterisk.
So they are co-champions.
Right, co-champions. And I'm glad that Christy...
Not forget about those South Carolina State University Bulldogs.
Yeah, my bad.
Also MEAC champion.
But I was hoping Christy would be on. Not sure if she in the chat room, but yeah, man. She all talking a lot of mess too. So we'll get into it. I didn't have anything.
The Aggie fans are the worst.
Yeah,
they're the worst. They annoy the hell out of me.
I agree.
Yeah, I be trying to pull for them. I'm like, they didn't mean pull for them. But then they get on here, they talk. So y'all humble down. God, you got a good school and program, but shut the hell up. Yeah.
Well, let's do.
Gosh, they're the worst. They're the worst fans ever. Like for real, yeah. I'd be like, yo, shut up.
Well, we were about to get into that in the next block. Y'all get y'all to mute your microphones right quick,
All right.
and we'll go into the first commercial break, and then we're gonna go any more stuff that Bridgette or anybody else has with the Midwest Band Clinic, and then we'll get into the Celebration Bowl. Listen to the 90 Degree Show. Thanks for listening. Support the cause and support and love the craft. Shout out to all you HBCU fans out there. We'll be right back.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, unmute your microphones. We are back to discuss the rest of the show. Like I said, so getting back into it, Bridgette, did you have anything else to talk about with the Midwest Band Clinic? How was it? Did you eat anything good? Anything about your experience?
Man,
when
y'all
you was
know
up
I'm
there?
greedy. You know I'm greedy. Why you even gonna ask that question? All right, so I done made it home here. So, just to give some background for those who don't know, Midwest is the largest international band and orchestra clinic in the world, and this was the 73rd annual event. And it's people from every state, a lot of different countries, whatever, that just come together to bring professional development over a course of 4 days to band and orchestra teachers. And some of the best concerts you ever want to attend is what this event is made of. So if you're in the field as a student, especially those who are student teaching, want to go into music education, I strongly recommend the conference. Every band director you can imagine is there. And then all the major organizations have meetings at that time too. That's like kind of the meeting point, like, hey, we're trying to meet with you. So for instance, HBCU Band Directors Consortium was there. They met. Women's Band Directors International. Everybody's there just to meet. You know, everybody meets. Kappa Kappa Psi Tau Beta Sigma has a reception and all those good things. So that just kind of gives you some background. It's a major conference. Always a great time of dialoguing with colleagues. You know, band directors, we hang out, we get it in. But it's just such a major event. It is like a lot. It's a lot of fun, but it's also major. So it's great to sit down and rub elbows with people who teach in Iowa, people who teach in Louisiana. I can talk to people who teach in Japan or wherever, and we're comparing notes, we're looking at resources. I love when I'm sitting down and people be like, hey, you ever tried da, 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 da? Or you tell them an issue you're having and they present solutions. So it's that kind of a moment. But you know, it's also a hangout moment. You know, it's a major hangout moment. Going out to dinner, chilling, having a good time. Like that's a major part of it. So usually the conference starts on Wednesday, it goes to Saturday. Really everything ends by Friday evening. Saturday just have a few little things that's kind of happening there. They also have a major exhibition hall. When I tell you that thing is like crazy, it's huge. Like you'd be like, ooh, all right, let me sit down and take a break, because it's just that huge and major. So, as a director, I find it beneficial to always go. It's that time of refreshment and clarity for me, especially after the first, however long we've been in school. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to kill these kids. Let me figure it out. I'm telling you, I'm always refreshed and rejuvenated when I come back from Midwest. I'm able to, dialogue. I'm one of the people, I actually, believe it or not, the way I talk on the show is one thing, but I don't think I know everything. I learn from others. Like the information I get, I've learned from somebody else.
Absolutely.
All of us are learning from somebody else. And so as I get information, the teacher in me wants to share that information with everybody. I want everybody to have the same knowledge I get. So I need people to understand that perspective. But it was great to sit down with the great Melvin Miles and have a 2-hour conversation. He's not worried about getting to his band. I'm not worried about getting home, whatever. Those kind of moments. Many of the HBCU band directors, which I know y'all want to know who was there. So let me think who was all there. Alabama A&M was represented. Mr. Wright, wonderful guy. Howard University, their new director was represented. Delaware State, Langston, Prairie View, Jackson State. Let me think about it. I'm going to mess around and forget somebody. Mississippi Valley was there. Morgan State, North Carolina A&T was represented. They even had Celebration Bowl, but they sent representation. So shout out to them. I want to say at one point, I felt like every MEAC school was represented in the meetings, except for maybe Norfolk State. I don't remember seeing anybody from Norfolk. FAMU had Dr. White and what's the band director now? I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, old lady moment. But their band director was there.
Shelby Chipman.
Shelby Chipman. They always bring a busload of kids too. So shout out to them. Who else was there? Let me go through the SWAC. Didn't see anyone there from Grambling. I don't think I saw anyone from Alabama State. I don't know. But it's a large event. There's also opportunities for there's HBCU fairs in the city during that time. So I know quite a few of the directors went out. That's a great time of recruitment for them. They went out, they're trying to grab kids, talk to kids, whatever. So that's a great opportunity to showcase their band. So that's, really, when I tell you, in a short time, I can't even tell you what Midwest Clinic is. It's one of those things that I say, next year, go experience it. It's one of those great moments. And of course, Chicago is a city food. And people don't realize that. Like, some of the best food, I'm a foodie, y'all. Some of the best food you can get is also in Chicago. So that's always like a highlight. Like, all right, where we going to go eat? So shout out to Pearl's Place Soul Food. Shout out to Giordano's and all the other places we went. Shout out to them. And then y'all know, if people who know me know I'm kind of trifling too. Thursdays, all the organizations have meetings. I went to everybody's meeting. I went to a Disney meeting. I didn't even meet them folks, so I went to the meeting, but they had free food. Thank you, Disney. Shout out to Disney. Like, everybody who said they was having food, I was like, I ain't paying for no food Thursday. And shout out to my partners from Baton Rouge. Javon and Iron, they was right there with me. They was like, where we going? Let's go to this meeting. We was grabbing food, free drinks, everything. Free ice cream all day long on Thursday. But it's really, really is a great time. So if you're a director, as I say every year, plan for it next year. It's worth it. It's worth it.
That's what's up. A round of applause. Well, that's what's up. That sounds really exciting. One year I might go. You know what I'm saying? I might just go up in there and just be like, I ain't no band director. But I'm just trying to.
We need to do the show from the conference one year. Let's do the show from the conference.
Yeah, let's do it. That would be a great time to sit down. You always want to talk to band directors. That would be a great time to schedule moments with directors and talk to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was cool meeting Brother Snipes and Brother Wright when they came out here, and I'm going down to meet, going down and seeing Southern wherever they are. And so I can meet Garrett and them. But yeah, it's always good to touch base with folks. This internet thing I realized this has been a minute I was doing it, but man, I hadn't really met too many people in person. So that's definitely something that sounds exciting. But shout out to the Midwest Band Clinic. Let me give them another round of applause. It's a cool event. And like I say, I always see Bridgette on there taking pictures with a lot of folks every year. So that's really cool. That's really
cool. Man.
All right.
Good people.
Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I want to give the chat room a round of applause.
The chat room ready for us to talk about the Celebration Bowl.
Yeah. People are already kind of talking about it a little bit.
Let's go. I got you, Alcorn. I got you. I'm not gonna let him drag y'all. I'm not gonna let him troll y'all today. I got you.
Yeah, so good old. So I guess we could take it there. So the Celebration Bowl, we had the Sounds of Dynamite. Okay, let me ask y'all this: is A&T going to the Honda?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
know they
so
go all the time.
they're going. So just let me put out there the first thing we want to say about the Celebration Bowl is they didn't care about this performance. They care about what they doing, and this is in the same building, isn't it? They in the same building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Showing
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
they didn't want to come out with something dope for the Celebration Bowl. They
Really?
saving it because
Where you get this from?
that show. Well, this is just how I feel because that show
Okay,
was
got you.
just very elementary. Like it was super basic. I think they probably marched to the left 4 counts, marched to the right 4 counts, moved up a couple spaces, and then that was it. Like Ernest say, they looked for the sideline blowdown. They were so hyped for the sideline blowdown. That was their like the pinnacle of their show, cause they got out there, they formed the A&T, they had the girls dance, and then I did like the formation that they had coming off the field. Like they had the Z's out at half court or half court out in
Hmm.
the middle of the field on the 50 and doing all of that stuff. So it looked cool, and they sound good. But I don't know. We all know the A&T can have a better halftime show. I just felt like they wasn't really tripping about the performance there.
And,
On
and in comparison, the show they did, of course, it wasn't a horrible show, but it just wasn't on the level at which you're probably expecting them to perform since you've seen what they can do.
Yep, yep.
That's probably what it
And half
is.
of me was
So,
thinking because it was all corn. You know what I'm saying?
right. So you wanted to just embarrass Alcor?
Man, I don't even care what y'all do at the Honda. I wanted y'all to come out with why black people are oppressed in America. That's the show I wanted to see. Shout out to them. I wanted them to
Oh
come out with a
man.
dissertation. I wanted to cry. I was gonna even let maybe a little gospel come out there a little bit. I wanted the obliteration, but I was pulling for
Absolutely.
Alcorn.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, you're
pulling.
right.
I mean, cause I was like Alcorn gonna do it. Now Alcorn had a really good drill. The
Yeah, I like.
GGs, Bridges homies, the GGs, they played
Shout out
well.
to the GGs. GGs did that thing. Forget what you talk about. Go ahead, GGs. I
They
like
they
the GGs.
did. They actually had the better show up until the
They did.
end. But
Yeah, I agree.
you really got on national TV and say, "Hey, look at the other bands in our conference at your moment of glory."
Uh, but you know what?
Well,
Come
I
on.
understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to
yeah,
represent for the home squad. They're
No,
trying to
they
put
were
absolutely.
the
scared.
conference on their back.
No, no, we don't need you to do all
But
that. Y'all already won all the football games. That's why y'all there in the first place. You supposed to go out there and blow down A&T. Y'all came out there and said, "Hey, y'all, guess what other bands probably should be here in our place? We got Grambling, and then they did their thing. They got the Sonic Boot. They didn't even do all the bands in the conference. What in the heck?
So,
Alcorn,
so
hold on,
here
let me
we
tell you
go.
something.
So here we go. Let's break it. We're gonna do this. Let's break it down so we can do this fair and square. We're not gonna just jump on Alcorn. We're gonna talk about it. So who we gonna talk about first? We're gonna start with Alcorn since they went first. I'm good with it. But let's break
yeah,
it down. Let's do a true analysis because we can't be unbiased. I know my Alcorn folks are listening in too, and I don't want to be unbiased. And I'm not saying that their show was perfect, but let's really do a good breakdown of
Oh,
their show.
it was the
I
bomb. It was a
so let's
great show until the end.
okay.
I mean,
Okay. I can buy that.
no, why would you do that? They did the boom. I was like, that sounds like Gremlin. I was like, is Gremlin there? And then they said, again, shout out to the Sonic Boom. Why y'all try what? Okay, we don't need you to imitate us. So we already know we already know y'all do that already.
Don't
So
do that. Don't
I'm
do that
like,
to them.
so then so
So
then
this is how I viewed it. I viewed it almost as if, and I'm not saying that was the greatest moment to do it, but they are the representatives.
hmm
They're the representatives from the SWAC. And so, hey, all you guys, you're not here, but hey, let me give y'all a shout out because the SWAC have great bands. That's how I viewed it. Oh, sorry guys, I'm having a problem with my phone. That's how I view what they were attempting to do. Now, was that the greatest platform?
No.
I think that's subjective. I think it's super subjective. I really think it's super subjective. I would like to have maybe seen it even at, like, I think that's a great Honda presentation. You know, when initially Honda was, hey, you have this many SWAC, you have this many MEAC, and maybe that would have been the greater platform. But let me tell you, beyond that moment, they drilled their butt off.
Oh yeah.
Alcorn had a good show.
Oh yeah.
They had a great show. And
yeah.
especially considering the little mishaps they had last year. That's why I'm saying I'm definitely not dogging them at all, because drill wise, they definitely took the field drill wise. A&T did not drill. They did not drill, and they did the show that they did last year is what it looked like to me. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the same drill they did last year. So yeah. Sound is a whole different thing. If we talk about sound, that's a different conversation.
In comparison, and I was going to talk about sound a little bit, but everybody's online was talking about Alcorn sound, and to be fair, I think they did have some balance issues. You know, they was out there blowing and they were loud, but I saw in the ABC clip. And the announcers was like, Alcorn, they weren't as loud as North Carolina A&T. So, you know, we can hear North Carolina A&T better. So we're going to give them the W. So, and I chalk that up as in the difference between majority of the SWAC and MEAC bands, as in the SWAC end zone to end zone drilling. Your bells are facing the end zones most of the time and not coming to the press box except for really the dance feature. And as opposed to A&T, they come on from the sideline and turn around and blow to the press box the whole time.
Right. I do like
so,
that though.
You know, so the judges, I mean, not the judges, but the audience is getting that full sound, and they sound bigger and more dramatic. And it's not really that case. You know, Alcorn is way bigger than A&T this year, and you know, and they got more brass and everything. They louder. But I thought it was interesting that the announcers said the opposite. They was like, A&T is louder. And I thought that was very interesting.
I'm glad you said that, Ernest, because that was something else I had wanted to talk to y'all about. And I guess we can go all over the place with it, but I hate that on a national stage, you still have I forgot the brother's name, the quarterback from Howard, who's always doing the black collar stuff.
Jay, he works my nerves.
He works my nerves. It's like, okay, so we got this platform. We want to give the most authentic experience possible, especially for the bands. So I appreciate they show more band, more halftime, but I don't like the way that they cover the bands, like the cameras, for instance.
Yeah.
Why are you showing the other band on the sideline looking
their reaction? Right.
Okay. Yeah. Throw that out. Okay. Second, stop rolling up on people you think ain't playing.
Right.
Little girl, pole girl. Hold on. Let me give a little shout out to the little girl, pole girl from Alcorn.
That's the pole girl from Alcorn.
How they gonna just roll up on her? Cause she wasn't cranking. But they showed her like twice, and they were like all in her face. A couple of times they showed A&T's saxophones, and they were actually playing, like they were doing well. But
they were playing.
But I don't like that the mic is so close to the horn that you hearing not hearing.
That's what I was going to talk about.
I don't like that, and it made me feel like
it's 2019, and we're still making that same errors that we made in the '80s with BET.
Like stop. Like y'all stop that. And that's why I wanted like Garrett or Showtime or some of the people. I wish they could like take over ABC. Like they could use the cameras and the resources, but they could direct it.
But you know what? I got mad at one of the media teams did that this time. Because if you look at I forgot the name, MF Cool, whatever.
I saw him for the first time. Yeah.
They had two cameras. They had one above, they had one on the sideline. They should have took the sound from the camera on the up above, but they had the sound coming from the camera on the sideline, and all you heard was Alcorn's trumpets, the whole drill. You know, and they march around the field, missing pitches and sliding in the notes, and that's all you heard. So it gives the impression that the audience heard a bad sound from Alcorn, and that's not the case.
Yeah, I hate that. And it seems like it's every HBCU band like this that does national. Like it gets like a national thing. I honestly really don't care for that. And then like you said, they were asking the commentators like, "Oh yeah, Alcorn, they sounded this." Yeah, call us.
They don't know nothing about band. I know.
Don't say nothing. You call us.
Yeah,
and we'll do a little something for you, ABC.
Basically, it's like us trying to go on and commentate football.
Yeah,
there's some basic
that's
things.
a good comparison.
There's some basic things about football, but to do a whole analysis, they'd be like, "What the hell is this girl talking about?" Because she don't know. Because I'd be like, "Run that ball, dude!" They like, "What? No, that's like a whatever passing play."
Exactly.
So, Jay irks the hell out of me because he has a bias. He definitely has a bias towards the SWAC, but his whole thing is the larger the band, the better they are. And that is not the case. That is not the case. So they even talked about, I guess we'll talk about that the last half, that undefeated poll. They were talking about the undefeated poll. And I'm glad that he had two other people who kind of like, nah, we disagree with you, Jay. I was like, thank you. And whoever the dude was, I was like, thank you. He has common sense. Because then the girl was like, the one marching white hydrant. And the girl, the other dude was like, marching. He was like, marching. So she was like, marching 100 is the best band. The dude was like, they're not even the best band in the state of Florida. The way I hit the floor, I was like, Lord. But that's not the point. Let's go back. We're gonna go back to our Alcorn. So, all right, let's talk about it. So Alcorn drilling was, I think their drilling was great. There was some sound issues on the field a little bit, a little bit of overplaying, not balancing out. I think A&T had the better overall sound on the field, but their show was lackluster at best. Overall, I like the show. Golden Delights, I like Golden Delights because of their diversity, their versatility. I really do, but they didn't know the dance. Whatever dance they were doing, if you look at them on both sides, they didn't really know what they were doing. Gigi's definitely take the field. Y'all can say I'm biased towards Gigi's, but come on, Golden Girls.
I agree with that, man. They had my attention the whole time.
I bet they did. I
was like, good Lord.
I'm about to call let me call your wife.
They had my attention.
Gigi was definitely giving it up on the field. Overall, maybe y'all can help me with this. I don't understand why the SWAC treats Alcorn like the bald head stepchild. They have a great program. They really do. Yeah, and even with the resources they have, they put some good stuff out. So shout out to Everson Martin, Brian Sterling, all the Milton Harvey. Shout out to you all because you all did a great job yesterday. Well, I told y'all I got y'all.
Well, they are the stepchild though. I mean, it's nothing about, but it ain't got nothing to do with the people
you almost
just
made
said.
Don't do that.
It's tradition.
They're not the stepchild. Stop acting like that. You're not gonna treat them like that. Stop it.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It for so long, it was just Jackson State and Southern and a couple of others like Grambling, Prairie View, A&M every now and then. That was the top of the conference. And then all of a sudden, Alcorn just came out of nowhere and bam, one year. So then everybody looking at them like, who the hell is this? Right. so that's why they get treated like that. That's what I think.
I mean, we just waiting for them to come up with their own thing because you got your platform and you go out there and you giving shout outs. What the hell? We don't need you to give us a shout out. You need to go out there and blow their whole conference away. That's how you represent. Hey, guess what bands we got? No, go out there and make sure they scared. Make sure that they don't even want to come to Atlanta next week. A round of applause.
Ernest, I wish you can see Joe right now. I need you to turn on another screen so you can see Joe. He is like hype. He like waving his hand.
Oh, what?
He is so hype.
I'm saying.
Turn on another screen. He is so hype right now.
Because I was straight. Because I felt like they were gonna win the competition. I didn't know A&T was gonna lay down like that. But oh look.
Did they lay down? I don't think they laid down. I don't think
they laid down.
They laid down because they said we taking us a nap until we gonna wait until the real competition show up. That's what they said.
Let's talk about A&T then. So we've talked enough about Alcorn. Let's talk about A&T. So wait, before we jump onto A&T, let me ask you guys this. So the discussion was a lot of people thought some people feel different ways about putting horns on the ground on the dance routine. I just want to hear y'all perspectives. Personally,
Oh,
I don't
good
have an
call,
issue with it
Bridget.
because I personally don't have an issue with it. We used to do it at Morgan, and then everybody's like wearing us out, and it's so funny that they will wear us out, but nobody will touch Southern when they do it. But that's a whole different conversation. I don't have an issue with it. I just don't. I think it's a preference. Is what your band do. Like, shut up. Do what your band do. But so many people are like, no, it's your instrument. You don't even practice your instrument, so shut up. But anyway, I don't see it. That's just my personal thought. My personal thoughts. But how do you guys
You know
feel
what?
on the putting the instruments down?
I think it's back in the day, they were, everybody pretty much emulated either Florida A&M or Southern, you
Yes.
know, and then you had, years past, you got graduates from those programs who, of course, are going to emulate those programs. And I think things from those programs took on, like the people who are against putting your instruments down. I bet if you look in their history, they have something that points back to FAMU. And the people that put their instruments on the ground, I bet they have something that points to Southern. Because at South Carolina State, we shunned putting our instruments down. Like we thought that was the worst thing a band could do. You should never do that. Our band director used to say, once you put your instruments down, you turn into a dance group. You're not a band anymore.
Ooh.
So we never would consider putting our instruments down. But that's because he was a Florida A&M graduate. Like I said, we took on that line of thinking. So if you came from the line of the Southern swackish type line of thinking, you didn't see anything wrong with it. So I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I know that when it was never an issue with us because I know Dr. Liddell and other directors, the boom is illustrious. We love the boom. But like when you're a music major or you there in that music building, everyone else is a part of another music ensemble. And the boom is, looked at as the what's this? I guess everybody can join the boom as far as music is
Right.
concerned, right?
Right.
So well,
Hmm.
I'm really in the symphonic band. That's what
Right.
people like the snobs, right? So there was always a thing where Doc and a lot of people would say we don't necessarily put our horns on the ground because our students need that horn for something else. Like they gonna
Mm.
need it for some other type of ensemble and of course, I mean as we know, we a lot of kids weren't coming out home with box. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a lot of kids was coming. They came home with their instruments from home, so it was a little bit more attention to detail as far as taking care of your horn. I
Right.
do want to give a shout out to Duncan C. Gray. Let me give a round of applause, Duncan C. Gray. Because at Smith, boy, we used to put them horns down and we used to juke it out, boy. Let me tell
Not
you,
juke
boy,
it out.
the band
Uh,
dance. Hey,
Juke it out.
you know what I'm saying? We did the band
Yep.
dance, and then
I
right
ain't heard
after the
that word in
band
a long
dance,
time.
we tapped it off and we put our horns down because he was about to get ignorant. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
I
So,
remember that.
hey man, it's about where you from. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Uh,
And you know
Juke
what?
will get your
To
scholarship
offer,
too.
I know that's right. Just to get that scholarship. But another perspective when it's shocking to me when people be like, "Oh, we gotta use those horns for concert band," because I don't know if every other school was like that, but for a lot of our people in Morgan's band, they didn't use the same horn for marching band that they did for concert band. We had quite a few majors also, but most of them, you're a good trumpet or you're a good clarinet. I'm not marching with a buffet. I'm a march
Yeah.
with a whatever, a little Jupiter or something. That's just that's a big difference. So I think that's why it wasn't a big issue. So every time I hear like, oh, you had to use that horn for concert band, I'm like, y'all using the same horns, and it's not tubas don't put theirs down anyway. But
No.
definitely for our flute players never use their flutes. They always use the marching piccolos, and if they use their flutes, it definitely wasn't their marching band flute. Same thing with clarinets, because you get caught up in the rain, anything. So
Oh
your
yeah.
good instrument don't
You
go
don't take
out
no
if you don't.
wooden clarinet, no marching band feel. Yeah.
Absolutely.
so
So
these were
while people are busy judging other people, maybe your program don't have the money and resources that other programs do.
you sure
Maybe that
don't.
might be
You
that
sure
might be
don't.
the option. Thomas, let me throw in more shade. That might be the option. For instance, your band might be able to go to Macy's Day Parade and don't have to raise money because your school pays for it. See how that works? So while you're throwing shade at people putting down instruments, they might have another set that you don't know about. Mind your business.
So y'all had horns to march with at
Yeah.
Morgan, and then you had like. So did people bring their own horns from home to Morgan?
Well, most people did. Like I remember one year, Mr. Miles bought all trumpets. All the trumpets played on the same trumpet. They all had the same trumpet, but then people had their personal instruments too. So you use the marching trumpet just like you would use the sousaphone, the marching sousaphone. And then he bought quadrobones one year. So everybody was using quadrobones. You don't use quadrobones in symphonic band. So we had different sets of horns for stuff, especially the flutes. They all went to the same piccolos. So they didn't use their flutes. So for pretty much every instrument, only instrument I can think of that probably didn't have a second set are the saxophones. That's the only instrument I can think of. But everybody else had a second set of horns. For instance, you using like marching French horn. Yeah.
So in the spring, did they have horns to march in concert band, or was that the students' horn basically then? Like
you have your own horn for symphonic band, and we don't march year round. Like December is it. We don't march year round. Yeah. But either way, for symphonic band, you have a different horn. Your good horn. It's just same thing. Think about this. So I had to buy a tuba. I don't use my march. Of course, I'm using a sousaphone for marching band, but then when it's time for symphonic band, I'm using my personal tuba. Well, the same rule applied for most of the trumpet players, for most of our clarinet players, most of our flute players, and most of our trombone players. The same rules applied.
Wow. Yep. I do remember at Johnson C. Smith, they had horns for us to use. Like I brought my own horn there, but then we had horns, and then the horns you could unscrew out and put the upright bells on them. So I do remember that. But at Jackson State, man, it was so many of us. I don't ever see Jackson State. I mean, it would be the bomb if that did happen. But I know that when we were there in the 90s, we wanted new uniforms, and yeah, we did want, we wanted our own instruments, but that wasn't happening at the Boom. They gave us some T-shirts, and they gave us some ponchos in the rain, which were super dope. Shout out to ponchos. But yeah, we didn't have the different instruments, so that's really cool that they provided that. I'm sure Ohio State.
I was just wondering y'all thoughts on that. I was wondering how y'all how you all felt about that for sure.
Well, I think also too you got to think, and shout out to Reverend Dr. Christy Rosa Parks Walker. I saw that she had put on her Facebook. She was basically like, "Oh yeah, well they put their horns down. That is it." See, A&T people, they only bringing it up because that's giving them some closure about the horrible performance that they put out there. That's what it's really about.
I'm not defending that A&T. That was a hit.
Come on, A&T. Y'all should have done better. Fired. I don't care if y'all waiting for next week. Y'all should have done better than that. But it was all corn. So they probably was like, oh, we ain't ready. But I tell you, if Southern came up in there, they wouldn't have had that show. They would.
Oh, you know that. You know that. Yeah.
Wow.
That's facts now. That's true. That's true.
They know it.
That's real.
And A&T know they halfway scared. And they halfway scared at the Honda when the Boom come up in there. Know what I'm saying? So we're going to need you to have an outstanding halftime show, A&T, because folks is coming for you. Because y'all done talked a whole lot.
I guess we got to talk about A&T now. So what y'all thought about A&T show?
What you think, Ernest?
And this goes to this kind of leads into the undefeated poll, because Golden Delight is A&T's bread and butter. And when they don't show out, you get the feeling that we got right now. we get that, wait a minute, they didn't do what they usually do. This is not the A&T we're used to seeing.
Yep.
Because when you see A&T, it's not just what you hear. It's more what you see. It's those big, beautiful flags all over the field, and then they're changing them, and then they got a theme. So the flags are incorporated with whatever the theme is, and then Golden and Light change uniforms, and they do all this expansive stuff. So when they don't do that, you're like, they didn't do a good show. But it was a good show. It just wasn't to the level which they usually come. So I think it was a solid presentation, but this I have to go with Joe. You know, it wasn't what they usually do, and I think they are kind of holding back for January.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree. When you said that, it put it in perspective for me. So first of all, let me say this: A&T sounded amazing on the field. They sounded good. The show
Mm-hmm.
just kind of was like, but they sounded great. They have a great sound. So, and let me lay this to rest for all the people who be like, oh, they be mixing sound and blah 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 blah. They proved that that's not the speakers and the mixing sound. A&T has a good sound. I'll give them props on
Yeah.
that. But their show was really lackluster. When you said would they have done the same show for Southern, I had to go,
No.
Because I don't think they would have.
No.
I think I actually agree with you. I think I agree with you that I think they did hold back some. As a matter of fact, yeah, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Pull up the footage, but I believe they did the same show they did last year for they did that show before. I've seen that show before. Different music, same show, but I thought overall it was lackluster. I thought it was lackluster too. It seemed like the Golden Delight is their bread and butter for sure.
Yep.
I like their versatility. Their uniforms are nice and whatever. Their dance sucks, but it was it was interesting to kind of see it.
And Golden Delight is why they got #1 in the undefeated poll.
Yeah.
if you go back and look at the scores, that's why they're #1.
I was gonna say auxiliary.
But let me say this though. So did you see in the stands when they came out, Golden Delight had on purple outfits? Did you notice that? I don't know if you all saw that.
Oh yeah.
First of all, the outfits were terrible. But number two, you can't be GG. Y'all can't be GGs. You can't be the GGs, baby. And you can't wear it like the GGs. Let me help you with that. I like Golden Delight because they can do several things, but you're not the GGs. Let me help you with that. The GGs,
Golden Delight girls a little too skinny, boy.
I'm trying to tell you, you got them
country girls. GGs, they got some hips. Them girls got.
Come on, GGs. GGs can wear a uniform pistol. They can slay it. Like don't try to be them. Be you. Definitely be you.
And it's funny that you say that about the Golden Girls because word on the street, according to the deep down swag folks, is that the Golden Girls are small nowadays. They used to be thicker than that. Know what I'm saying?
What?
In the 90s, man, you just
no
didn't
comment.
know. You just didn't know what was going on.
You know, that's some pork chop, ham hock.
Right. But of course,
cornbread.
Cornbread fed young ladies. I ain't mad because I'm a cornbread fed young lady. Come on, Gigi. I'm coming to their auditions. April, I'm going to Gigi auditions. They think I'm playing. I'm showing up.
Hey, round of applause. We ain't scared of that now. I don't know about the skinny stuff. I really don't. And maybe that's just me, but I don't know nothing about the smallness. You know
what I'm saying? Me either. No, me either.
Word. Well, I'm glad we agree on that. But definitely, I thought that, man, Alcorn. Oh, I just did not want to see that. And then they didn't even do all the bands in the swag. They couldn't have. Because their show would have been too long. So then you do Gremlin.
They did like 3, 4.
Yeah, like Gremlin. And then the last band, I didn't know what they were doing. I'm like, come
on. Alabama State?
Their sound went out. I think they announced they had sound issues. They cut the mics off or something on them.
Well, and just like what happened when I was talking about Jesus and God cut off my end. That's
God like ugly.
Somebody came up in there. I was like, what are y'all doing?
Shut up, Joe. Shut up.
What are y'all doing? I was very upset at that point. So I was like, man,
don't do that to them.
So, but still, A&T, I just wish, I don't know, I wish we saw better performance for both. They both did well. But I guess since we know the background and everything, I wish we saw a little bit more. But hopefully they're going to come with it at the Honda. Because don't be scared at the Honda A&T now.
They're not. You know they're gonna put out their best foot forward. They always do. They always put their best foot forward. But I'm sure they're tired too. They got that graduation breaks and all that stuff. It's hard to prepare a band. So shout out to the they got to send them home, bring them back, do this and do that to get them there. So shout out to both of the programs for getting them together for that celebration bowl and for representing us on the big stage, ABC. I'm glad they covered halftime. Like for real, we could complain about it all they want. But I'm glad they gave us something. Like shout out ABC for giving us something. Now in the stands, the footage wasn't balanced. They showed a lot of A&T.
Yeah.
And the commentators really was like, "Oh, we like A&T." So we got to figure that out. And it might have been camera placement or something, but either way, I saw a whole lot of A&T in the stands. And Atlanta is clearly an A&T hub or something. Like they have a big fan base. Like when it was like A&T Aggies, are you in the house? The stadium was like, whoa. So you can tell it's a big A&T house, and that kind of gave A&T a little bit of leverage when people sit on your show because it's not their band. And that's what happened, I think, to Alcorn too. They didn't have the hype because it doesn't seem like they had the same amount of crowd. If somebody who was there can kind of tell me. Somebody can kind of tell me based upon it. But from watching it at home, it seems like A&T was like the whole stadium.
Oh yeah.
It seemed like
People from Carolina love going to Atlanta. So we'll hop on the road to go to Atlanta. So I bet you all the Greensboro's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's probably
So,
true.
yeah.
Only thing that kind of seemed that messed it up was that the fans that Alcorn did have, they got confused when the band came out there and started doing everybody else. So that's what happened. That's what happened, Bridgette.
They didn't know who to clap for.
He swear he a comedian. He swear he's a comedian. Y'all know Joe be clowning because he thinks he's a comedian, folks. He does. He really does.
Sometimes I go back in here. I was like, that brother's funny right there. I was listening to something. I was like, that dude's funny. But no, man, I just, well, look, I still think Alcorn had the better show. You know what I'm saying? I still think Alcorn won halftime. We gonna actually be technical.
You
about
dying.
It.
You dying to say. You was dying. That killed you. That killed you to say that. Good job.
But
Joe.
it's the truth, though. I mean, I didn't know what A&T was thinking about. Well, they weren't necessarily tripping about Alcorn. That's fine. But I still don't think that's an excuse. And I know we've talked about that before about bands getting up for other bands. I don't want that to be an excuse. Like you go somewhere and he's like, oh, well, that was Alcorn, or well, you know. But like Bridgette say, as far as travel, logistics, because I know I wanted to go home over Christmas break. I didn't necessarily want to come back for practice and do all. So I'm sure it is difficult. Yeah. So that was probably the best thing for them to do. I understand. But, you know, just seeing it, and I'm expecting y'all to do something else, you know, right. It just wasn't that. So I hope y'all come with it at the Honda. Because, you know, if they don't win, because A&T is riding a wave right now. Shout out, I saw Charles in the chat room. They say that they're like the most, what is that? They got the most students.
Yeah, the largest HBCU.
The largest HBCU.
Yeah, so they riding a wave right now. So good for them.
They're riding a major wave. So most of the athletic teams won first place in some way or some format. Like most of their teams came out on top. Only a very few didn't. They are the largest HBCU, and so we're proud of you. We're really proud of you. Like they're on a strong wave. Then they win another national championship. The funding is major, and that's a whole different conversation. Because as I visit schools, like my goal is to like visit every HBCU. There's a vast difference when I visited Southern versus when I visited a school like A&T. You can tell they're pumping money into A&T. Like that money, the campus growth, the facilities, the campus. Like when I saw Southern's practice field, at least for the band, I was like, yo, like the park, the lot that they use, I was like, y'all able to put out shows of this magnitude on that. What if they had the resources that an A&T had? Would it change would it change the dialogue? And I think it would. We know that MEAC is the bougie conference. Most of the MEAC schools have money. They really do. And a lot of the SWAC schools are facing a lot of financial challenges. We have a couple stepchildren that's suffering Bethune-Cookman financially. We have
South Carolina State.
South Carolina State. Yeah, we have a couple, but for the most part, like our schools are lucrative. You look at the Howard's not struggling for money. They may misappropriate it, but they're not struggling for it. You know, Morgan's not struggling for money. Delaware State's in there, know, predicament. The other schools,
Hampton, Howard, yep. All other schools are doing good. Norfolk,
Fam. Yeah, they're coming along. So there is and even when we look at every year, MEAC has won this Celebration Bowl. There's still a level, even though we're both D1, AA or whatever, it's still some, equity balances. You go to some of their facilities, you look at where their football teams are practicing or whatever. It's still some differences. We have really nice facilities. I've been to other places, other schools, and I'm like, whoa. So, there's some differences. Maybe they're spending more money on band than they are on football. Who knows? I don't know. I can't say that, but yeah.
Well, it's a really good point because, that's where all the support goes. So that's why we have this show, and we definitely try to make sure people are active with their alumni association, so we could at least keep some of those financial circles going. Uh, shout out to Cortez Bryant, my crab brother, when he donated the money to Jackson State, and then they made the endowment or whatever they did with it that helped create the Sonny Boom Alumni Association. So I'm really proud of that program, and they hardcore about dues. They be putting people on blast. They'll put the stuff on Facebook. They be like, it's right around homecoming time. It's like, all right, we can't wait to see y'all. These people who ain't paid. And then they'll put out a whole list of people out there. And it's pretty funny because people will actually start paying before they go back to homecoming. You know what I'm saying? So, people ain't hitting you up. But, I mean, it's funny, but, I mean, it's something that, we got to do to support our schools. Because we don't want A&T to have all the fun. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Spread the love. Spread the love.
Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I see in there, Brother Chisholm, Unstoppable 25. Shout out to all the people in there, Charles and all the folks. Scarfinger Hood Rich. Me and Scarfinger got the same birthday. Know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. So was there anything else we talked about? Chicago. Celebration Bowl. So, Bridgette, what did you think about halftime? Or wait, did you guys check out the 0 or the fifth quarters? Did you guys see any of those?
Yeah, I checked out the 0 quarter. I'm not impressed with the tuba break tunes, man. So there was a whole bunch of that, but I was impressed with the 5 on it. The A&T played 5 on it. I love how they do that. I love that little jam that they play, but nothing else kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, I know that A&T was playing something, and then they had a little chant with it, or and then they started harmonizing and all that. That's one of those hot takes I want to tell y'all. If you guys start singing in the stands like that, you are subject to penalty. Because we just going to have to put it out there. I've noticed Rogers Brothers, even Eddie with, I'm about to say Rolling and Band, what's Eddie's show that he be listening? I can't remember right now, but he be listening to the stuff on the radio while he driving, cranking and driving.
Eddie, right? That's Eddie. Eddie meet me on the 50, Eddie.
Right. So I noticed they'll listen to a round, or they listen to both bands play, and they'll say, "Oh, I give the point to Southern, or I give the point to Morgan State or whatever." Okay, that's cool, but this is what we got to do, my fellow marching podcast brethren. If people ain't playing marches, or if they singing, or if they start doing, we're gonna have to start deducting points from their fifth quarter total. Round of applause for the deduction of points.
But what if they do a whole gospel show, Joe? What do we do there? We got to ban them from something.
Yeah, see, that incurs infractions for the following week. Okay, so you get in trouble, and then something happens to you next week. You know what I'm saying? Round of applause. So if you don't do it right, you can have another band come in and already be up 3-0 at the beginning of the fifth quarter. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Round of applause for that.
So hold on. Now, there's a difference between chanting and singing.
Okay. You right. I'm glad you said that. Chanting is okay because it's like, hey, something, and then so I'm glad you said that.
So a little refrain in between neck, is that singing?
When you say refrain, like you talking about people
that part talk about the side of your neck. You talking about that?
Well, no, that's allowable because that's old school. We can allow that because it's neck. But when people are playing like on tuba breaks, I've seen like 3 posts this week. One dude from Southern who's like super annoying. I agree with that, brother. It's like way too many tuba breaks. So now we got tuba breaks, but then we got people singing during the tuba break. It's getting out of hand, y'all. The chanting and the singing, and then when you harmonize, that means that you've been practicing the singing in the band room. That definitely incurs an infraction.
And here's a public service announcement. These are the thoughts and opinions of Joe Baird. They do not represent They do not represent the override view of the marching
Right.
podcast or the
Right.
tier two, the other panelists that are represented here. Henceforth, why I am quiet.
Hot takes. Hot takes. I'm telling you, man. So A&T, y'all walk that line a little bit. Yeah. Don't y'all gotta stop. All right. Play your horns. Or just play whole notes. That's better. That's
Hold
better.
on.
Yeah, that's better than the chanting. Or have I just don't care for the chanting. You know what I'm saying? But that's I had to ask you that. And I wanted to
We got
double
to get
check.
to the poll. We got to get to that poll before
Oh yeah.
before we get off to
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
undefeated band poll.
All right, so real quick, I'm glad you said that. So let's do the commercial break real quick before we go to commercial. I'm so glad. Are y'all familiar with the tune?
I'm
Oh yeah.
so glad I go to. Yeah.
Okay. Has A&T always played that song?
Every band plays that. What
Yeah.
band don't play? I'm so glad.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like a standard tune.
Okay, so I thought that for a second. How does A&T sing it? Because all I heard them was oh. The letters don't fit. It's supposed to be I'm so glad I go to JSU or TSU or ASU. What does NCAT do? That's what I'm wondering. Do they say the letters or do they just be like during the whole time?
Did they
You
say
sure-
A&T?
You sure
I'm
you
so
wasn't
glad I
listening?
go to A&T. I don't know.
You might have been listening to old Spirit. You know.
Old
We
time
used to-
religion?
yeah.
That's what it sounds like they playing.
Oh,
Spirit. The Spirit.
That's what it's
SC Spirit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, we have a version of Spirit too.
okay.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say all that comes from Southern. All that stuff comes from Southern. That's no, really. Like when I listen to our arrangements, and I understand because we had Southern directors. That's our history. Morgan had Southern directors, so we had Newsom. I think Carlo Knighton was there for a while, and so they bought them arrangements. So our Spirit sounds just like Southern. So yeah.
Okay, because I had never heard A&T play. I don't think I've heard them play that. And when I heard them playing it, I was like, I'm so glad. And then I was like, I go to. Well, what are they saying? Like, are they saying NCANT or something? Like I didn't know, but I had to ask you East Coast folks to know. You know, so y'all had Spirit. Morgan, did y'all say Morgan Bridgette? Did y'all say did I go to MSU?
Morgan State.
Oh, that's what y'all said.
So glad I go to Morgan State.
State. Oh, okay.
I'm so glad I go to Morgan State. Yeah.
And then
Singing glory,
Woo!
hallelujah.
Woo!
Woo! I go to Morgan State. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I guess
But a lot of
everybody
people,
got their own.
a lot of people have versions of Spirit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. A round of applause for clearing that up. Because I didn't know what they were singing.
We're trying to help a brother out, our audience. We're trying to help this brother out.
Hey,
We
I'm
really are.
Because it
We're
sounded
trying
like
to help him out.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't sound like what you know what I'm saying. What I was used to. But all right. All right. So let's do the last round. And I definitely want to talk about the poll.
So before we go to poll, those who are in the YouTube chat room, I just posted the link to the undefeated poll, and it shows the breakdown of how they voted, how they gave the bands the points to come up with the ranking. So if you click under that name under Bridgette Janelle, you'll see the actual poll and how the votes kind of tabulated. I think you're gonna be shocked when you see it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So let's do the commercial real quick, and we'll come back and talk about the poll. Listen to the 90 Degree Show, Midwest Celebration. We'll be back after the break.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high-quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t-shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event, but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1-800-975-3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Southern California area, please contact Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots. He will meet and exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951 858 5942. That's 951 858 5942. Or you can email Kevin at kpsaleshomes@sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, Kevin Peete, KP Sales Homes, all one word, at sbcglobal.net. Thanks again.
You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. Smokey O's, come check us out.
This is Curtis from 80minutesofregulation.com. From referees whistle to drum majors whistle and back, your source for sports and marching and athletic music. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
Excuse me. We're back. Let me clear my throat. Oh, my bad. All right. We're back and definitely ready to talk about our last poll of the year from the Undefeated. We've been following this poll. The year that we did the show with NBC was the first year they did this poll, and we brought it up and we talked about it there. So we've kept up with the folks. This year, or the first year they did it, they had a lot more information about the panel that they were using. But last year they didn't really have too much, and then they had the one guy, the rapper, on the panel. But this year they're throwing a little bit more names out there. I know they said Dr. Liddell, my old band director, and then Dr. White, Julian White from FAM. He's I think he's like one of the main people. And then they brought up another person's name. I'm just bringing that up because the first year they made sure we knew who everybody was. But the last couple of years hasn't been. I don't think they've told us everything. However,
that's because they got a bull. That's because they got a bull crap ass. A bull crap panel. That's why.
Yeah,
That's what it means. That's what it means. It's BS. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's all good. But definitely that does make you think. I mean, it does. Like, why you ain't telling me everything? Like, but I digress. So we're thankful to ESPN for showing us some love. Shout out to the Undefeated, which is like the little segment for like people of color. They did the breakdown into
he
5.
Said people of color.
I mean,
we don't even know what to call ourselves anymore. But go ahead.
I know. Well,
The urban.
Right. I didn't want to just say black folks because you know they be mad at everybody. All right.
Yeah.
So they got the 5 things they added on drum majors, drill design, musicality, percussion, and auxiliary. And then they composited the scores each week. They looked at halftime, and then they came out with their poll. So in the end, Bridgette put in the link so you guys can check it out. But go ahead, Ernest.
The issue I got with it, man, is, and I respect some of the judges. You know, I respect Dr. White and Dr. Liddell and Magruder and whoever else they got on there. But man, bro, I don't even think it's all of them. I think some of it is just the way that it's just like the way that the scoring system is set up. I don't know the scoring system, but you can't, like, for instance, let's go to A&T. I'm not going to pick on A&T just because I hate A&T, which I do, but I'm just picking on them because they were selected as the winner. If you look at A&T and you go back through the weeks, they never won the best musicality caption.
and they only won the best drill caption one time. And all the other captions, they were like 5th, 6th place in, except for auxiliary is the one who got them the award because they were consistently in the top 2 in auxiliary. Yeah. So
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
They're number 1 because they're number 1, but they never was the best sounding band. How is that possible?
I don't know.
Because of, all right, so if you click that link, y'all, if y'all can see the scoring system, if you look how they scored, it looked like they scored stuff on a scale of 1 to 20. So the categories are drum major, drill design, musicality, percussion, auxiliary.
Mm-hmm.
And so for each of those, they gave a score between 1 and 20. 1 is the best score, so the lower the number, the better. The higher number, the worse. So if you look at A&T, they gave their drum majors a 5, their drill design a 6, musicality a 2, percussion a 3, auxiliary a 2. But look how how the poll is thrown. Perry View is number 2. Drum majors got a 2, questionable. They gave drill design a 12. So they significantly lowered them on drill design. They gave musicality a 6, percussion a 1, auxiliary a 1. So technically, if you look at so they do the average, I guess, based upon that. So it's like, this is so ridiculous. Then you look at the third place. Cookman is third place, but you gave them a 7 for drum majors, a 4 for drill design. You gave them a 1 for musicality, a 7 for percussion, and a 7 for auxiliary. Their voting system is crazy. If you look at this, you gave Jackson State a 1 for drum majors, 1 for drill design, a 4 for musicality, but you gave them a 13 for percussion and a 14 for auxiliary. You gave the J sets a 14?
That's crazy.
You gave the J sets a 14, but you gave the Black Foxies a 1.
If you go back earlier, if you go back earlier, ranked Cookman like 6 in musicality, and FAMU as first. And I'm sorry, man. Ain't no point this season that FAMU sounded better than Cookman.
Period.
I'm sorry.
Period.
That's just facts. We can go back and roll the tape. I have never heard FAMU this season sound better. Now, they sounded better than they have in past years this year, but they weren't better than Cookman musically. So, 6th place? Music? Come on, bro.
What's tripping me out is they gave Norfolk a 20. They put them in 20th place or gave them a 20 for drum majors, but gave Hampton a 4. Hampton shouldn't even be in the conversation.
I know.
You gave Hampton a 4 for. You gave Norfolk's drum majors, the coldest drum majors out there. You put them in 20th place. You tell me you rank Grambling. You rank Grambling, Cookman, like all these people over Norfolk's drum majors. That is so ridiculous to me. That is so. I'm looking at this. So Oh, this is how they rank them. I got it. This is crazy.
I think that also too that it was also based on like each week. So for instance, whatever algorithm or whatever number matrix they were using, if let's say like Bethune-Cookman finished 3rd, let's say if they were 6th the following week and they had a performance, their performance would still move them up so much in that list. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's how some of the schools fluctuated up and down on the poll throughout the year.
And that's what's flawed, because they were basing the movement up and down the poll on things like auxiliary, percussion, drum major. And when it comes down to it, this is marching band. And we as band heads, I'm a proud band head. We want to see who sounds the best, who marches the best, who looks the best. We're not concerned with what flag cup choices you made. That's not going to determine in our minds who's the best band. But that's what they're using. Like, that weighs equally in their algorithm. And I don't think that's right. I think it should be based on the same system that we use when we go to state contests with marching bands. as in music is the big music, marching, and the general effect or whatever they want to call it will be the heavy scores, and everything else won't even be considered as a part of, like, percussion and auxiliary should be separate. That should be like, okay, who has the best auxiliary? It shouldn't be part of who's the best band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're trying to tabulate that, I guess, as a final all around score. But then you have to look at bands like Southern and FAMU who don't really like Southern and
so
they have like
win.
Dancers. They have
exactly.
like Southern have dancers, but they don't have flags, and Florida A&M has flags but don't have dancers. So how do you? That's apples and oranges. Like, how do you weigh that out? I don't know.
Southern, all those schools with no flags. How do they even compete with a North Carolina?
It seems like those schools, they rank lower too. Does Tennessee State have flags? I don't know. Does Tennessee State have flags?
No.
Okay, so they rank them all lower. So FAMU, the lowest ranking ones for auxiliary are FAMU, Jackson State, Tennessee State. They seem like they were ranked the lowest.
FAMU should be last.
Dead last. Like, dead last. I don't know who got last, but my goodness. Like, that's...
If you auxiliary beat you, you need to quit. You need to stop.
Yeah. I'm also wondering too, because they also did the large schools and they did the small schools, and I don't know where 1 to 20 came from, because they're showing the top 10 for like big schools, but then they have a score of 20. So at halfway, mean, like, are you judging all 20 bands together? Because each poll has 10 bands, like the top 10. So I don't know what the 1 to 20 is. That's the other thing.
And it looks like from the final, it looks like they just did everybody, because Norfolk have 20th for drum majors. So that means they lumped it all together in the end. I'm still mad about that Norfolk drum majors 20.
Yeah, I like Norfolk drum majors. They're always together.
I do want to also say too. So shout out to Winston-Salem State. Let me go and give a round of applause for Dr. Michael Magruder, aka Dog. Shout out to your dog, Rude Dog. So shout out to him. Of course, one of my band directors. So I'm always excited to see him do well, especially since they left Jackson and he's doing his thing. But I have to say, I saw Fort Valley State this year because they played against FAM, and I saw Kentucky State. I haven't seen Allen. I love Central State. Shout out to Raymond Key. But I was surprised to see Miles at 9. They put Miles at 9.
I think that's some hate. I think they hate
because they got them at 3 for musicality. Drill design, they got them at a 10, and they got them at 16 for their drum major. I don't think Miles is that bad. I mean, damn.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's that about? So shout out to Brother Snipe. So that kind of surprised me. I wish that they had a category of originality. I would like to kind of see that, to see like how well are your shows each week. That's something that would you can swap out percussion and auxiliary to me. Like, what type of show did you have this week? Was this a good show, or did you mail it in this week? You know what I'm saying?
Mail it in.
Yeah, just like A&T, like what A&T did. They mailed it in for the Celebration Bowl because they getting ready for the Honda. Yeah, they mailed it in. Like, they say, hey, we about to get an F on this quiz. We're just going to take it. Jesus, take the wheel. Let me just turn it in. That's what they did. All right. But yeah, I wish they had an originality. But yeah, I don't know. I still wish we could come up with a good poll that would be what everybody liked. I know Ernest has a grading system. You put one out a couple years ago for the Honda. So Ernest has a grading system. Y'all can check that out. But
that's
I don't
funny. Shout out to the Rogers brothers. They're about to do their award show, so it'll be interesting to see how everybody. And I like the fact that the Rogers brothers seems to have a vast audience. He has kids that are in high school, college. Everybody kind of watches them, so it'll be interesting to see how they come up with it. And no disrespect to the panelists, because honestly, I don't even know who on the panel. Let me be honest, but I just didn't like the poll. Like it's all over the place for me. But no disrespect for, the panels. I don't know who's on there, but that is yeah. Looking at how things were ranked in that overall chart, kind of lost me. I'm just gonna put it
Yeah.
that way. It totally lost me.
So where was that the panel that the Rogers brothers put out there? Where is that on Facebook?
They're on Facebook and they're getting their awards show together now. So um, keep watching the Rogers brothers and their posts. I'm one of their panelists for their award show, and they got some other people coming on. So it'll be interesting to see how it all turns out as a total picture. But this is just one poll. Polls are subjective. Whoever you ask, you're gonna get different opinions. I watch Family Feud all the time, and I'm like, there ain't no black people answer. Who they asking? They not asking us because our answers be totally different. So it just they're subjective. So this is just one tool. People writing it out though. They was like, A&T number one band in the world country, and I'm like, wow, okay. But it is what it is. They're on their wave, so enjoy the wave.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're huge right now. Like they are hot right now. I
I'll be
just
glad when the low tide comes in.
right.
Time for the low tide. Tired of riding this wave.
Cause I just don't remember when we were all in school in the '90s. A&T wasn't like what they are now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I feel
Right.
like they were like on the come up, like they were moving in the
Yeah.
right direction. But this is new, like new money. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I mean, but we love you, A&T. Real quick, shout out to Bull City Music School. I didn't say her sponsorship. Uh, Call Janetta Powell Smith at 919-423-5701. She's got two locations, one in Durham, one in Hillsborough, North Carolina. Great pianist. But you can go there and learn about music, and she's expanding to dance and a whole bunch of things. And she's also helping with the Carolina Bowl, North Carolina versus South Carolina. So contact bullcitymusicschool.com for all the information and to support the school. All right. Was there anything else that we wanted to throw in there? So, well, you know what? Out of base, now let me ask y'all just something real quick. Who are maybe like your top three bands that y'all have seen this year? If you want to say like big school, little school, however many it was. But Bridgette, what band I guess do you remember so much? Just a little teaser, because we having our little end of the year show too, where we just gonna basically say what we thought about the year. But just a little smidget, just a little teaser. What
um,
what band would you
so
say kind of maybe got your attention this year?
so I'm gonna say the bands for the most part, the bands on this list I think are very credible bands. I would throw Hampton out of the conversation. They just didn't do it for me this year. But the band that really has carried my attention from when I say from the beginning to now has been Jackson State. Um, they just really carried my attention. But there's some other bands like Kentucky State
I
has
like them
really
too.
they've had my attention
I
this
like that.
year. So there's there. So if I look at various schools, various band size, A&T has a nice program. I take nothing from A&T. I think they definitely deserve to be in the top 10, top five, whatever. But number one, I question it. I can't say that consistently A&T is a better band than Jackson State. I would never say that. I felt like, let me look at over this. Prairie View, we haven't heard much from this year, to be quite honest. We saw them earlier in the year, then they kind of like fizzed out. So I really can't put them in my top because I haven't seen them. It doesn't mean they're not the top, but I hadn't really seen them. Cookman shouldn't even be in the conversation this year, I don't think. I mean, if you're looking at history, then yes, but this year Cookman did not have a good season. Tennessee State absolutely should be in a top conversation. Um, Southern should be in the top conversation. FAMU, okay, I'll give you top 10 conversation. Absolutely. Norfolk State, absolutely. They should be in the top five conversation. I think they're consistent. Shocker, yes, Grambling State should be in the top conversation because Grambling State has had a remarkable year. I already said Hampton's not. I'm trying to think that I missed any other bands that I've seen that kind of turned my head this year. You can look at schools like Benedict and say, are they worth a top 20 conversation? Possibly. You can kind of look at them because there are some other bands doing some amazing things. So I wouldn't totally discredit this poll, totally discredit this poll, but I would probably reorganize it just a little bit.
No, I think we all agree. What do you think, Ernest? Who are some people that kind of stuck out to you this year?
I was impressed with. It's funny that you mentioned Fort Valley, 'cause I was impressed with them when I saw them at the beginning of the
Me
school
too.
year
Me too.
when they met up with Benedict. I was real impressed with them. They have a nice sound, and they're doing some good things. They got their numbers up. So they're a small band that's doing some really good things. Um, I was impressed with Morgan. Morgan State. When I saw them
Hey,
at TV in March, and that was
we
impressive.
can't hear Ernest, Joe. Turn it down some.
Go ahead, Ernest, man. I'm trying to.
Yeah,
No,
Trying to figure it out.
we can't. Yeah, we can't hear him.
yeah.
Ernest, start
You
that
hear me?
again. You said you were impressed with really who? I missed all of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was impressed with Morgan State.
Hey, I was trying not to throw it in there. Trying not to be biased.
But yeah, I was impressed with them this year, and they really impressed me with the sound of their woodwinds. Actually, when they were playing that march on TV, I was just real impressed with the sound. I could tell there's some work going on there. You know, it's not just all about marching band there, and I can respect that. So that's really pretty much it, man. This year has been kind of a surprising year. There's been some surprises. Grambling was a standout program, of course, and some of your usuals didn't quite make it this year. You know, because usually you hear about Southern, Cookman, FAMU, the usuals, but I didn't hear much about it. Jackson State started out strong this year with those freshmen, but then they kind of fizzled a little, but they had a stronger year than Southern, so it is what it is.
So can y'all still hear the music in the background and still hear people talking?
I can't hear any music right now.
No music right now.
Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to get these levels right, man. I need a sound engineer. Right.
DJ Joe.
Yeah, me. Oh, hold on. I'm about to start losing it now. All right. Y'all hear that now?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, bet. Well, yeah, it had on while both of y'all were talking, but I was trying to get the volume right. So yeah, I definitely agree. Y'all took all the ones. I was gonna say Kentucky, and I was gonna say Fort Valley State. I usually don't name the Boom because it's like, I mean, you don't have to say the Boom because everybody know that. you know what I'm saying? But I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in the Honda, especially with Jackson State and FAM and A&T. I need to see those three schools go at it, and I wish they had something in the stands or something. But I'm sure A&T is gonna come with it. If I really, I'm gonna save that for the award show. But I was gonna say something about Jackson State's gospel show this year. But yeah, but I'm guessing
too soon because the Hondas would you usually see a whole lot of singing.
Man, please, Jackson State, please don't sing. Please don't have nobody singing in Atlanta. Please, just go out there, do your thing, do Tiger Run on, and blow. I mean, that's all we need. Just don't mess it up.
All the singing comes out at the Honda.
No, I'm scared.
Folks be bringing whole choirs.
Oh, see, now we need to talk about that, Bridgette. We more hot takes, but if we see you walking into the stadium with a choir or some other type of, you automatically incur infractions. Automatically,
not infractions.
Infractions, because that can mess with you next week. And depending on how defiant you are, you probably just don't get asked to go to the Honda. Round of applause. That would be dope.
Don't worry about it, man. He's not gonna be there. You good? You good? He ain't gonna be there to see it. He ain't gonna be there to see it. Y'all good? Do you, boo? Do you?
I'm gonna be there next year. And we're gonna be talking about.
Somebody said, and no tuxedos. No tuxedos for Jackson State's drum majors. I thought that was Grambling who did that. Somebody said no tuxedos.
Oh,
they did. They did.
Was that Jackson State that did that? That was Jackson State that did that one year.
Yeah, that's all right. Though.
One year, Grambling whole band had on tuxedos.
Oh yeah, the whole band. I remember that. That was kind of dope, though.
It was dope. I thought it was dope too. I have to admit, they sounded terrible, but they look good doing it.
That was kind of dope. That was like white tuxes or something. That was dope.
Yeah, that was. I forgot all about that. But y'all bring up a good point. You know what I'm saying? We hoping that everything, but we pulling for everybody. Just like we said at the beginning of the show, you talk about one of us, we talk about each other, but don't talk about none of the rest of us. So we'll be supporting the rest of the bands. So shout out to you guys. Merry Christmas to you, Bridgette. Merry Christmas to you, Ernest. Good luck with the kids and with Santa Claus and with all that stuff. And I'll hit y'all up throughout the week as far as what we'll do for like the end of the year. And we'll be talking about all the stuff that, we did this year and kind of recap some stuff. And then I'm sure that we'll be back in January in 2020 to talk about the Honda. Because Ernest and Bridgette are going, so they'll have pictures and they can tell us all that's going on. And they'll tell us how the experience was, all right? Didn't look at Tennessee and Hampton much because of the conference nonsense. Yeah, Scarfinger just bringing up talking about Tennessee State and Hampton in the conference. I forgot all about Hampton's not in the MEAC anymore. I totally forgot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot too.
Yeah, so that says something. But shout out to Brother Jones. He's definitely putting his foot to the metal and trying to get that program off the ground. He's definitely doing a lot of work.
Let's do I don't know if we're going to be on next week, but safe travels to Southern University as they're headed to the Rose Bowl parade. Shout out to them, and safe travels to Hampton as they head to Rome to be in that New Year's parade. So good luck on the big stage, guys. Hope you all have a good show.
HBCU for doing it big this year.
Let's go.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Well, all right. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll text y'all. We'll get something throughout the week. We'll have we definitely do an end of the year show. But again, thanks for your time. We give a round of applause to Bridgette and Ernest. This is not easy to do, but we're definitely doing it for the craft. But I want to tell you guys, appreciate what you guys do. We done seen Bridgette driving. Bridgette went all the way to the University of Florida and cooked some food and came back in the same day. And Ernest babysitting the kids while his wife, she out, and he Mr. Mom, and they still did the show. So round of applause. Round of applause for both of them. All right, y'all. Y'all Merry Christmas and happy holidays, and I'll be talking throughout the week. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Merry Christmas, everybody in there. And much love to the bands. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or patron, just hit us up, and we'll start to promote your business using our platform, using all of our social medias and the little information down there at the ticker. And much love. All right. I think that's it. Well, peace out for Bridgette and Ernest. We'll see y'all in the coming weeks when we do our end of the year show. But again, thanks again for listening. And remember, the lessons you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson in observing what you do. See you next time.
And that's it for the 90 Degree Show for this week. Tune in next week with Joe Beard, where the marching band battles continue.